Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Full Grammar Alchemist. Class is in session.
Hey there guys, welcome back to another tournament report with yours truly, Paul Reissmann. Today we are going over the Games & Geek Online GP for June 28th through the 29th. We just actually wrapped up this GP. As I speak right now, third and fourth place are trying to be determined at this moment. And so we're just going to go over, the tournament is mostly done anyway, and I've got other things I need to do. So we're just going to jump right into the results of this and see how this goes. So as we got into this, we saw a lot of Hachisuka solo gills and Gil Ashwins, and going into Val 3 as well. We saw a lot of these types of decks coming and cropping up in the Paradox format that we have for this particular event. So Hachisuka, Solo Gil, Gil Ashwin, Val 3, they're all kind of trying to do the same thing. They're trying to deck you out or just play a really grindy mid-range game at this point. Some of the outliers were going to be Laika, who is a bit more aggro focused. It can just kill you on turn 2. Sometimes it can grind even further and get rid of some of the obstacles in her way. Same thing with Priscia, although Priscia did not really convert this time around. Neither did Helen 2 or Zero or Electra or any of the there were a couple of other singleton rulers that we want to get to here. Reflect Refrain, Tag Reflect Refrain, and Flute, funny enough. So let's get into the top 8 breakdown here. We had the Flute combo get into the top 8, I believe right now, if I remember correctly. This is we're looking at top 8 for here. Laika wins the whole event, just so you know. But a lot of Solo Gale and a lot of Gil Ashwin. The Reflect Refrain did not convert into top 4 or into the winnings, but Tyler Tompkins did a really great job piloting this deck. We'll talk a little bit more about this. This has been a Kalamazoo Boys special. Reflect Refrain has been really high in our in esteem for our particular community. Let's get into the winner of the event, Stephen Jess Wine's winning Laika deck. This deck is absolutely fantastic. Not only are you going to be drawing a ton of cards, but with Tiger, you can just spit out a Tiger form Laika and just end the game right there. With Barrier, Multi-Strike, and being able to attack twice per turn, Tiger form is very, very, very lethal. The same thing for Spider form as well. What Steven apparently did not plan on doing is using the new Dragon form down here in the sideboard, mostly because the revealed names that are revealed in the deck, if they're RFG'd from the game, Gil can just flip them face down with the sub-ruler. So going for the Tiger form in Spiders just made a lot more sense, it seems, and the Beast Lords really makes that strategy more consistent. Horn God here is also really good because if you remove it with Laika's abilities, you can pop one of your own beasts and any card that is floodgating you, which is something we saw in the top cut. Being able to just remove this card and pop a Fates Reunited that has been blanked after a Tiger has swung is really, really powerful. But we are playing some of the other beasts as well as including Bear, Eagle, and then we're playing a couple of Phoenixes for Reach, which actually ended up finishing the game and finishing the day out by just pitching and burning for 6. Very relevant card. The Fighter in the Underground Arena is actually an interesting one of here. When it attacks, it can, based on the number of other things that have attacked that turn, it can destroy something that has that X cost and X value. So if you attack twice with Tiger and then attack with the Fighter, your X cost is going to be 3, so you can pop something for 3 costs or less, which is pretty great. Therion Morphing has been key to the deck ever since Laika was released, as well as Communication of Animals. Communication with Animals allows you to pick out any of these core cards that you need in the deck. The green package that Steven is packaging here is we don't have Keep the Faith or any other way to pump up our Tiger form Laika, so the next best thing is just to buff your whole board and give it Pierce with Gas, Gas, Gas. This card is, in general, really good for green, as you're just pumping up the board for +4/+4 in Pierce. So certainly not a bad effect on a 1 cost. It's a lot. It goes very far on Tiger form Leica as well. Killua Girl in the City here is really helpful, especially if you were watching this on stream with us. You recognize that Killua was able to just cancel the Fate trigger at the start of the game against Gil, and so that's really solid. It also gets really useful when you're trying to pop certain additions or other things that are getting in your way. 3 Memory of Worlds, his cancel of choice for 1 cost, very effective. 3 Liberation of the Fires, and then Knight of Transcendent. This is your other way of morphing if you need to, or transcending. If you don't see Therion morphing, this is a really great way to just say, okay, I'm gonna reveal Tiger, draw 2 cards. The next time I play Tiger, I'm going to draw 2 more cards. I'm going to play Knight of Transcendence, tap it to transcend, and then after that is all said and done, go to my next turn, and then I can give something swiftness and +2 attack. So this is really, really helpful for that. You can just play a Tiger turn 1, play this turn 2, tap it, and then you're off to the races. This card is absolutely insane. The Magic Stone deck is pretty interesting as well. We have 4 of the Werebeast Stone, which every time a Werebeast comes into the field, draws you an extra card. In this deck, you are drawing a ton of extra cards. Not only does Tiger give you +2 on your draw, the Werebeast Stone will also give you, for every single copy, give you an additional card whenever the Tiger Morph comes into the field, which is really great. 3 Stone of Remnants, 2 of the red-white 4C Stone, and then a Lycan's Blood, just to kind of round out everything here. In the sideboard, we have the new Dragon form, Tiger form Leica, Spider form Leica, Fire Pit Trap, and then everything else is pretty high utility. So you have Oxidizer, which is really good for getting rid of troublesome regalia, and there's a lot of them in the game right now. You can swing with Tiger, play this, pop a Fates for United if you need to. Very, very helpful. Price to Pay is in here as well. Price to Pay is really useful for just getting rid of really pesky mythic things. Epiphanic Priest, you're an all-red deck. Every stone is going to produce red, so this is a really good way of getting rid of things with Barrier or Eternal and just burning them for 9. And then, of course, a couple of Courtesans for just defense. You are playing 5 white sources, so this is very accessible to you in general. Steven would just kind of thrash people with this entire deck, so it was really, really, really fun to see. Just the ability for Leica to really get there. So congratulations for Stephen Justwine winning the whole thing here online. Stephen Hulsheiser, it was a Steven off in the finals. Steven is still on solo Gil, although this time he has to play it in Paradox. So we're still playing a cryptid package of 3 Pyromancer, 3 Courtesans, and then 3 of the Deceased Inhabitants. Deceased Inhabitants proved to be really, really good. Not only does it draw you a card, it finds you a Regalia or a Glyph card. Normally, you're going to be finding things like Fates Reunited and your Ice Shards, or even your other Regalia here, like your Tanks or your Apple. That's really, really helpful for this card, just being able to fetch that and then produce you additional mana while all drawing you a card off of the Sub-Ruler. I'm sorry, not the Sub-Ruler, the XR. We're playing 3 of the Battle Wolf. This is a good way of just saying I'm gonna put a card on here that's gonna produce me extra will, because I am a moon itself. I'm gonna be producing at least 1. If I have multiple wolves on the field, all of a sudden my wolves are making more moons, and so I'm making more will because I have more moons on the field. Very good. Replicant Imel is really at home in this deck. It can do a lot of different things utility wise. It can gain you some additional life. It can help you to see additional cards in your RFG that you can cast. You can pay black and just give the board state a -4/-4 each time you activate the effect. So it's a good way of getting around things with like Barrier and Eternal. Very useful overall. A couple of Shaman, 3 Yomid Guard. Yomid Guard proved to be one of the most potent cards that we saw in the format today, alongside cards like Death Gaze to get certain resonators out of people's hands, which would then go and fuel your Soul Eating Curse. Soul Eating Curse would also either set up or benefit from you getting rid of a lot of different cards. Uppercut, really good. Every turn you are milling 2 cards from your opponent into the RFG, so getting lucky and hitting something with the XR then sets up your uppercuts, which proved to be a really deadly combination all day today. A couple of Lunar Protective Life Forms, 2 of Giotto's Throne also proved to be really interesting in his particular list. A couple of attack orders to get rid of other Jade Rulers, Flash from Behind, again to kind of manage Eternal. A couple of Fates Reunited, and all of the other regalia we talked about just a moment ago. What's interesting about Steven's list is he's not really red forward. So he's got 1 copy of Vessels in the main board, which at the end of the day, we were wondering if it made sense for him to have more red in the deck, because sometimes there were times where Vessels, especially against the Leica matchup, would have been really helpful. But regardless of that, this is a white, black, and sometimes with red deck, which is really interesting given the Darkest Fires moniker we have here. But we have 2 Eobon Home, 2 Gravestone, 2 Awakened Stone of the Earth, a Crown Stone, and 3 Ancient Magic Stones to kind of round everything out. Every stone will produce black. Your Crown Stone is there just to kind of give you a little bit of flexibility in case you do need to play something for red, and that gives you then 3 red sources. In the sideboard, you do have your Vessels, and Steven likes a lot of one-ofs in his sideboard. He's got Vessels, Shaman, Uppercut, Lunar Protective Life Form, another Flash from Behind, another Cursed Ice Shards, Courtesans, and then after that is 2 ofs. We have 2 of the Glyph in case you are just in a situation in which canceling stuff in blue and green decks is really relevant for you. A couple of Therapist. Interesting thing about Therapist, it will shut off the Sub-Ruler if you are going second, which is really helpful for you because all of your cryptids will come into the field and still trigger your XR to draw you extra cards. Therapist does not stop them from having races on the field, but it's really good for just shutting off sub-rulers. Really, really good for that. A couple of price to pay and a couple of Rumsfeld as well. Rumsfeld is really good against the Giltag Ashwin matchups. Just being able to turn off their abilities seems really, really solid. So congratulations to Hulshizer for getting into the top 2. This deck was really fun to watch on stream. We've watched it quite a bit, in fact. So this is really, really cool. Other decks are going to be really similar with a few exceptions, but this is kind of the deck to beat in the format, and obviously Leica was able to do that. Let's go into the top 4. I'm not sure at this point if Paul Martinson or if Misha Skarlatov is going to be coming away with 3rd and 4th place respectively, but this is the order I've got them in right now. Paul Martinson is doing something very similar to Steven, although he likes more solid play sets, very similar to myself. We have 4 Pyromancer, 4 Uppercut, 4 Soul Eating Curse, 4 Deceased Inhabitants, 4 Wolves, 3 Courtesans, 3 Yomad Guard, 3 Death Gaze, and so everything is pretty standardized in Paradox at this point. A couple of tanks, a couple of Imals themselves are also being tooled in here is really, really good. A couple of Shamans, 1 main board Vessel, and all of your other regalia that you can search off of Deceased Inhabitants. 1 attack order. I would like to see this at 2 personally. I think this card is too good not to have at more than 1. You would want a couple, but I guess a close second would be a Flash from Behind. Magic Stone deck is exactly the same as Hulshizer, so I'm not going to go over that. And the sideboard is pretty much exactly the same as well, but instead of playing a lot of price to pay, we are just playing a couple of Lunar Oxidizers. I think that is going to be kind of a huge... It's kind of a huge thing going into the top 4 game against Steven Hulshizer. Oxidizers were pretty relevant. And he's playing 1 Hide as well. I think that's a good way of just making good resources out of your Magic Stones here as well. We are noticing that he's playing a few more red sources, which might mean he might have had a different matchup against the Leica matchup or any of the other aggressive decks that were being played, just given his deeper access to Vessel itself. Paul Martinson, congratulations for getting into top 4. Misha is playing something very similar as well, although he's tagging with Ashwin. So we get access to things like the Wicked Cryptid, Searing Dead, and he's playing a couple of Sphinx as well. He does play a small Witch Box package with a couple of Remnants of the Ruin, Black Witch, Glowing Crystals Witch, and number 13, as well as a couple of copies of those in the sideboard as well if you manage to hit 5 stones. You get Ghosts of the Witches of the Tower as well as a cancel, so which is really, really fascinating, but that means you don't get to play the Searing spell of fraying magic in your sideboard either, because you do have a blue card. I think that's totally fine. I actually think this card, it might be even just a little bit better. Very similar deck overall. We're still using Soul Eating Curse, we're still using Uppercut, we're still using Yeoman Guard. We just have a little bit more aggressive pressure from the Searing Dead, the Wicked Spirit, and from Ashwin. Proved to be pretty good, getting him into the top 4. Sideboard is going to be, again, very similar. We saw the Witch package. Judgment of Solari is a format staple. Spirits of the Crimson Moon as a way of getting rid of regalia and additions that were really troublesome. This is quick cast, so you can just white and 1 to avoid some of the problems that sometimes will crop up from things like Mirage Spirit or Shaman or some other things. You can just hard cast this for 2, which is really useful. Beekeepers, we saw this actually make a huge difference in the game against Steven Holsheiser. Being able to just gain some life is really, really helpful, especially in games 2 and 3. Other than that, there's just other cute little tech in here. Congratulations for Misa getting into top 4. Let's get into the top 8 list. Daniel Negrete playing one of the more interesting decks of the day. So Flute is an interesting deck. We're not playing any of her new support. She is here purely for the fact that we get this sub-ruler and we get Flute as a result, Flute's Water Dragon as a result of that sub-ruler at the start of the game. That gives us access to drawing more cards, which is a really good economic strategy in general. Playing against the opponent, what Daniel would do is he would throw out Throm's Pack of Hounds, and then later in the game either have a roamer just either on the field, but more often than not he would just use the inheritance effect, play Hall of the Bandit King to force the opponent to draw 2 cards, and that would drain their life to the point where they couldn't do much. Between paying lands and paying life in a variety of different ways in the metagame, some sort of life loss strategy was probably going to be very, very good. This deck was very, very unique in that sense. We're also playing 3 of the Ethereal Princesses to just add to the burn strategy, a couple of Mirage Spirits, a couple of the Metal Lifeform Dragon as well for reach damage, some defense in the form of Misty Dragon Statue, Mirror. He's playing a whopping 4 Zacky's new plan, which to me feels a little excessive, but for him, I'm sure he just loved having additional copies that he could just banish in the event or expel in the event that he needed to just get rid of it. This card was a little troubled by Yeoman Guard, which is why I think ultimately he didn't get into any higher than the top 8. Between the XR and Yeoman Guard, just getting rid of certain cards in his deck meant he would run out of steam at some point. 3 Uppercut, as well as 2 Fates Reunited and 2 Ice Shards as well. Magic Stone deck is going to give you blue in every stone, so that's really helpful, but we do also have a ton of black. Only 2 stones don't give you black. Playing Throm's Hounds on turn 1 is a really good tempo play. Between Pain Lands and Shock Rocks that are coming into the field, Throm's Drain can get up there pretty quick. So this deck was really unique and really well poised for that kind of stuff. In the side deck, between the stuff that you are going to start the game with, between Flute's Water Dragon and Fire Pit Trap, you just have a few one-ofs. You have Epiphatic Priests, you have 3 attack orders to kind of fend off any aggression, and then 3 Killua, Girl in the City. You also have a ton of red in the deck, so you can cast this card for 1, prevent fate triggers, stop automatic abilities, blow up additions, draw additional cards. This card just has a lot of really good utility in the format. Congratulations for Daniel for topping in the top 8. I love seeing one of decks like this just enter and get very high up in the listing. It's really, really cool to see. Ayush Dalal, friend of the channel, is also doing very similar things on Gil. He's tagging with Ashwin as well for that aggression. He's got the Wicked Spirits. He's got only 3 Soul Eating Curse. I guess he felt like he could get away with just doing 3 and playing a few other burn cards, such as the Phoenix, Flash from Behind, Lunar Protective Lifeform to protect himself and to give himself a little bit of a boost. He mainboarded 3 Spirits of the Crimson Moon, which I thought was interesting, in a very small Witch box. Magic Stone deck is going to be 4 Stone of Yvonne Home and 2 Remnants for your red sources. Everything else is going to produce you white. So we have 2 of the Ancient Magic Stone, 2 Gravestone, pretty standard from there. Knight of Transcendence is in the deck. I would like to know why this is in the sideboard. I would just like to know. I think it just gives you swiftness at some point. I think that's how that card works. Without going into, you know what, we're gonna do it. We're doing this live. We're going to look at this card. Target Beast J Resonator or Werebeast J / Resonator. So I'm not sure what this is doing in there. Maybe I misread something on the list, but my understanding is this card is not useful for you. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Again, I might have misread. So other than that, he's got other parts of the Witch box in here for your Witch of the Fallen Kingdoms. Really helpful. Witch of the Fallen Kingdom is going to be a really good staple card going forward as well. So keep this little package in mind. 3 Epiphanic Priests to get rid of things. I'm willing to bet that I'm willing to bet that Stephen Holsheiser wishes he would have sided a few of these going into his top 2 match. But either than that, Ayush, great job, man, getting into the top 8. We're gonna keep going. Daniel Gordon, another tag. Gil Ashwin, very similar list. We're playing a couple of Deceased Inhabitants compared to some other folks here, but most of the deck is pretty much the same. I think I might have missed a card in his main deck, so that will be something we re-upload a little bit in the future. Don't worry. But we did also have for each Undiscovered World at 2. I think this card, I'm surprised this card didn't show up more. This card is amazing, puts on a lot of pressure. I'd like to know from some Gil players why this card isn't showing up more often. I think this card is absolutely correct. Magic Stone deck, again, very similar. We've seen a lot of the same stones up at this point. Side deck is going to have the Witch box, as well as a couple of Beekeepers as well. As I said, I think Beekeeper is really at home in this particular list. Last but not least is Kalamazoo's own Tyler Tompkins. There we go. This is the deck that I would have piloted going into this event had I been playing. I really like RR in general, and I really think this deck had a unique play pattern and a unique play access. Tyler said going into this, I mean, he was doing really, really well in Swiss, and then the deck just stopped working at some point, is what he said going into his top 8 matches. What's going on here with RR is we're not playing any rabbits. You're going to notice that first off. Rabbit is really, really good. Let me see if I could find that for you all. Magical Rabbit feels like a resonator that is used for original RR more than anything, because this deck doesn't really rely on magic counters kind of stockpiling up. Instead, what this deck does is it uses the magic counters very readily to cancel things or to blow up the field on your opponent's turn. And then on your turn, you recover a stone, and you just get a lot of really free effects. So we're playing 4 of each of the contracts, 3 of the Reflect and Refrain Resonator. I'd like to talk about this just a little bit, because this card actually helps you to just straight up win certain cancel wars. Given that there are just a ton of different decks that are not playing anything that stops these kinds of things, this card is absolutely amazing. The idea here is that Reflect and Refrain has a strong matchup into any sort of Gil matchup. So you're going to be seeing a lot of cancels here that frankly, a lot of times Gil can't stop short of a Yomid guard. So we have 4 Swords of Progression to help with that. A couple of Hide, which is really good in this deck. Essentially, if you tap down any sort of stone to activate her ability, you can immediately, in your recovery phase, if you have your Reflect contract up, you're able to just recover that stone immediately and just pay into it again. So you get a lot of extension with the Hide ability. Birth of the Twin Princess is also really good. Command Point at 3, Kilowa's at 4. Judgment of Solari in this deck, because you have contract rulers. If you have both contracts out, you get all 3 effects of this card. So this card has a lot of value in this particular matchup. Magog is really good as well, being able to draw and cycle cards that you do not need anymore. So you essentially are playing OG Reflect Refrain at some level. We're playing a couple of Echo. Echo is really interesting in this particular deck because what Echo does is when you play him and you have the enter effect, you can play a target chant with total cost 1 and quick cast from your graveyard without paying its cost. It gains if this card would leave the chase in any way, expel it instead, as long as it is in the chase area. So you get to reuse things like Birth of the Twin Princes, any of your contracts again, your command points. You get to use all of those again, and that's really, really helpful for you. So a couple of these just to kind of extend all of your 1-drops into having more utility. Playing a couple of Shaman, 3 Epiphanic Priests in the main board. There's a lot of cards that they were testing a lot in Kalamazoo, and they just felt like 3 Epiphanic Priest was the way to go. And 3rd Beekeeper for life gain and just strangely aggression. If you're able to just keep going, you can actually pump with your Reflect and Refrain, your Reflect ruler, to be able to make this even bigger if you need to. So that's really, really interesting to me. The Magic Stone deck, you're going to be getting green with every stone, and there's a lot of light in this as well, but you need some red in order to cast Judgment of Solari and Echo, as well as Epiphanic Priest. So you're going to be seeing that coming in here. In the sideboard, we do have Fire Pit Trap. This card is incredibly important for the deck because it allows you to, on turn 1, cast Fire Pit Trap, and then with your Reflect, use the Mastery effect on Memory of Worlds to remove this card from the game and then contract. So Fire Pit Trap is actually really, really, really important for the list. Light of Megiddo is here for just board wiping as well as Wu Zhao Wu. You have Shaman in a 3rd copy in the sideboard. We have Claim by the Depths in order to get rid of troublesome regalia or resonators and draw an additional card. And then we have Songstress. Songstress in this particular deck is really interesting. This does end up losing out to Epiphanic Priest, so this is probably why we didn't see more of this card, but this card is incredibly, incredibly good. Players cannot play dual attribute non-resonator spells with X in their cost, such as Soul Eating Curse, or cards from their standby area. So yeah, sorry Hachisuka, you can't play your cards. You better have a priest in hand before this all ends up not working out for you. Really good Floodgate at a 5/7. It's not too bad at all, and it's in color for your 2 primary colors. We're also playing 3 Witches of Glowing Crystals to stop burn damage. Guys, I really love this deck. There's a lot of hype around this deck in Kalamazoo, so who knows? Maybe we can see some things change for this deck going into the future. This was the only Reflect Refrain deck that entered, but I think hopefully people will key in. This deck actually has a lot of potential going forward. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this tournament report for our Games and Geek Online GP for the year date and year June 28th, 2020, 28th and 29th, 2025. I'm Paul. I'm exhausted. It's been wonderful having you. And until next time, guys, this has been Paul saying class is dismissed. See ya.